All right, people, what's up, everyone, and welcome to another video. And I just got back from seeing a little movie called Thor: Love and Thunder, which I'm sure everybody else is out there right now seeing it. I went to go see the earliest screening in my theater, 4 p.m. Eastern, and I was very excited for it. Well, okay, I was, and then I saw some of the reviews. And I know some people were like, "Oh, judge the movie yourself." I do, but when I read reviews from people I trust, and they say like, "Yeah, it's a little too much of that Taika Waititi humor." And, you know, here and there, I get just a little bit less hype. I still go into a movie, clear mind, I watch it. But I was still, like, my hype, it was up here, and it went down just a little bit. The reviews weren't terrible, but I was just like, oh, wow, okay. I thought Taika could do no wrong, which I know some people disagree. He can. But well, especially in acting, because I thought he was really annoying in Free Guy. But I thought Free Guy was a fun enough movie. Not great, but it was fun. It was borderline fun. But I thought he was really annoying in it. And I know that was the point, but it was still really annoying. I don't care what's the point. If it's annoying, it's annoying. But yeah, I was excited for it because he came back to write, of course, along with somebody else, and direct, of course. And everybody came back. That was, you know, supposed to come back. That was contractually obligated. Of course, you know, Mark Ruffalo didn't come back, but you got Valkyrie, you got, you know, whatever. And of course, Jane Fonda. That's a joke in the movie. Jane Foster's back. And Korg is back. Taika Waititi right there. So I was looking forward to it. The trailers were looking promising. I left the theater relatively pleased. I enjoyed my time. I can tell you right here, if I see it again, I'll probably like it way less, though. Because this movie, unlike Ragnarok, I think Ragnarok really balanced the tones very well between dramatic and comedic. It was definitely more comedic in Thor Ragnarok, but it knew when to really like tone it down and slowly ease into the drama. When there was action, there's a threat, it felt like a threat. And there's some problems with Thor Ragnarok. I'm sure if you really dig deep, certain things don't make sense in the writing when compared to stuff previously in the MCU, just like Doctor Strange and all these other things. But it was still a fun movie. If I just wanted a fun movie that even felt kind of disconnected from the MCU and just want to watch something fun, I would watch Thor Ragnarok. I mean, I'll watch other things too, but Thor Ragnarok is one of my favorites in the MCU just because of how fun it is. Are there better movies? Yeah, I think Civil War is better. I think Winter Soldier is better. I think Infinity War is better, but still, Thor Ragnarok, a lot of fun, really great. For a little fun. You want a little fun with some drama and some heft to it, of course, and a lot of stuff involving Thor, building him as a character, then it's great. I was hoping for more of that. Sadly, I don't think we really got it. Like, it's another Thor's finding himself story. Of course, they brought back Jane Foster, and now she's the mighty Thor. People correct me all the time. I'm like, oh, now she's Thor, but no, the mighty Thor. She even says that a few times. I'm the mighty Thor. All right. Still find it weird that I get it. Whoever holds Mjolnir holds the power of Thor. I get it. So then you're kind of Thor, but his name is still Thor. It's like if I gave someone my shirt, now their name is Gore or Chris. That's my real name. No, it's not. Gore's my real name. You know. Anyway, I really wanted to love it more. I really did. I was still pleased, but I just wanted more from this movie. And I wanted the tone to be way more like Ragnarok, where it's comedic, but again, you know, it swaps back and forth pretty well. Here, when it gets to the drama, it's not bad. It really isn't, but it just feels so out of place considering how goofy the rest of the movie is. Like, it does the Marvel thing I'm really getting sick of, where there's something serious that's happening and then it ends with a joke. I'm so past that. It's really lazy too. I think it's like, oh, he's making a speech right now. We all know it's gonna end with a joke. Screaming go, or like he starts fumbling his words, or oh, someone's fucking around with a marker in the background making noises and stuff. It's just like, can we stop? Like, really? It's just stop. We can have a serious moment sometimes. And this is even towards Taika Waititi. He's more of a comedic guy, so it makes more sense for him. But like all these other Marvel movies have it too. And it makes me like the characters less when there's like, oh, we're having a cool speech. Oh, no, gotta stop it. Some funny's happening in the background. Oh, screaming goat. I don't know. It really distracts from the actual scene that's happening at that moment. And there's a lot of that stuff here. Don't get me wrong. There are some funny moments in this movie. There's one involving Stormbreaker that I thought was actually pretty well done for the most part. But I do like the characters interacting with one another, even though I would have liked to see maybe someone else joined them, because Valkyrie and Jane Foster are the only two. Like Korg's there too, but at a certain point he kind of like dips a little bit. I guess their budget ran out and they couldn't have Korg there the entire time. But yeah, I would have liked to see just like maybe one other addition there, just to bounce off it. You know, like Loki, Hulk, Valkyrie, and even Korg and Meek, and like even the Grandmaster being there. Like, I guess the Grandmaster here is supposed to be Zeus, played by Russell Crowe, who's good, but he's not in it a lot, let's just say. And I don't know, there should have been more bouncing back, you know, like actual like funny jokes here and there, where there's a lot that aren't. You know, even like just smart little pieces of dialogue that are funny, but like actually smart. Like I liked all the Loki stuff between him and Thor. Get Help was great. I love that. But even like the little things they say, like in that movie, they're like whenever Loki's like talking about like, I know you'd be back, or I'm always here. Like, just like little lines I always liked in that movie. Just that were funny, but not like goofy funny. This movie's just goofy, you know. And it kind of ruins some of it's pretty decent scenes by just having a gag go, you know. Star-Lord's having a speech, and then Thor's like, open my head in the way, like the scene in the trailer. It's a little bit different in the movie, but it's the same scene pretty much. And in the trailer, it's fine. In the movie, I think it deters. I really do think so. But again, the actors are good. I actually do like Thor and Jane together. I never really liked Jane that much, and even Thor to an extent in the first two Thor movies. He was a little bit maybe too serious in those movies. I do like him a little bit. I like him in Ragnarok, where he knows how to be serious at times, but still have some fun. I even liked him in like Age of Ultron a little bit more, but because he had like even Avengers, like the classic like he's adopted line. I love that stuff. When Thor like really has like jokey material, I think it works, and Chris Hemsworth is great with that stuff. Even the original Thor, when he's like, I like this drink, another, you know, that's good stuff. So I like what they did with Ragnarok. Here, I feel like he's maybe a little too goofy, but I do like him and Jane together. I think they're good. Which is surprising because I never really cared for them in the first two movies. I'm sure I said I liked it at the time, but I rewatched Thor 1 and Thor Ragnarok. I mean, Thor the Dark World a couple years ago, and it just didn't work. It just felt kind of generic. But here it actually does work. Their relationship, you know, works. Jane becoming the mighty Thor actually does make sense in some way. I mean, they could have done it a smarter way, but at least it's like, it's not just like, oh, she's mighty Thor, fuck, don't ask questions. Here it's like the comic, kind of. I read how it happens in the comic. It's pretty much the same. But yeah, I thought the whole dealing with her situation was actually pretty well done too. The writing there got serious and didn't rely on gags too. So, and because if they were making jokes about that, it would be really weird. I don't want to say the reason why Jane has Mjolnir, but I'm sure you know, and it's not really even a spoiler, but I won't spoil it just in case. But yeah, the scenes between them two are good. It's just that there's not enough of it, and when the love part, when there's like moments of that, I feel like it was a little rushed. Like you don't even see Jane as Thor until like about, I want to say like maybe almost 40 minutes in, and the movie's not that long. It's not even 2 hours long if you don't count the credits. So you don't really get a lot because they also have the balanced Gore, the God Butcher, which we'll get to Gore in a minute. But yeah, like I thought their scenes were fine. I just wish there was more of them, and I also wish there was more of something else. But yeah, like most of the characters are fun enough. I still like Korg. Valkyrie, I'm like hit and miss on Valkyrie. There's times where I like her, and then there's times where I feel like she's a little too, I don't know, boring. But I probably liked her more in this than I liked her in Ragnarok. I thought Ragnarok, she was like, all right, she's all right, I guess. Just a tag along sidekick almost. I probably liked her here better. I liked her in Endgame too. She's barely in it though. But yeah, I don't know. I never really cared for her too much, but she's grown on me just a little bit more. I like Tessa Thompson too. I think she's pretty good. I really liked her in the Creed movies. But well, she was in Annihilation. She was good in that with Natalie Portman. So I wish they had more scenes together too, like Natalie Portman and Tessa Thompson. They like I feel like the trailers and some of the TV spots were building up like they're gonna have like a friendship or whatever, and they have like 2 scenes together, and not really. Like I never felt it really at all. So that's unfortunate. But yeah, the visuals are nice. I mean, the budget is definitely there. There's times where some of the green screen is not great, but there's some really neat visuals. I really like the world where all all the color gets sucked away. They don't really explain that, but it doesn't matter. They don't explain a lot of things in this movie. A lot of writing problems here, and if you really think about it, the shit doesn't make sense. But I guess this is also the same movie where screaming goats carry a flying ship in the air. So I feel like saying that though is such a wet fart of a fucking you don't complain about things. It has flying goats. You know, like, you still talk about the writing making no sense, especially since the movie really wants you to feel the threat of gore. And if you just think about like certain things they could have done to avoid the threat of gore, then they could have just fucking did that instead of, you know, having to go through what they went through in the movie. You know what I mean? There's like things like that. Whatever. Yeah. It doesn't bother me that much. I know it probably bothers some people more than that bothers me, but it's definitely a negative. I don't like when people say, no, inconsistent writing doesn't make any sense. That's not negative. No, it's a 10 out of 10. I loved it. Because Screaming Goats, you know, it's the best movie ever. But whatever. But yeah. Let's get to gore. I really liked Christian Bale. Surprise. Christian Bale was great in something. But he was really good in here. Like, the movie actually starts off with him, which I liked. And he's in it a little bit more than I was expecting. Like, I wish he was in it more still, but when I saw the reviews, they were saying, like, he's great, but he's not in it a lot. But I thought he was in it more so than I was figuring, you know? I'd say he's probably in a good third of the movie. Which is more than I thought. I thought he would be in the beginning and then show up very sporadically, which is kind of what happens, but the sporadic appearances are longer than I thought. You know, I thought he'd be here for, here he is for a minute, and that's it. You know, no, he had actually a pretty good presence. He was there for a good amount of time. It actually kind of reminded me of Thanos, where he's sprinkled in Infinity War. Even though he's like the main character, he's still sprinkled in because they have so many other plot lines they have to cut to. It reminded me of that. Not as good as Thanos, definitely not, but he has a reason behind it, and you know what, after seeing the movie, I was actually kind of with him. I'm like, yeah, fuck the gods, what the fuck, like, besides Thor, like, everybody else sucks, like, they're all terrible, and he had a great point, like, don't kill innocent people, just kill the fucking gods, they all suck besides Thor, but most of them that we see in this movie, it kind of sucked. One thing I didn't like, though, actually, that just brings me up a point about gore. I thought he was great. I thought he was sinister. I liked the makeup effect. I know he doesn't look like his comic book counterpart, but that's fine. I never even knew who he was to begin with. It's fine for me. Probably not for you. That's fine. I totally understand if it's not good with you. But I really like the way he looked. I like how sinister he was. I like those glowing yellow eyes. He had a real cool presence, the sharp teeth and stuff. He actually, like, from distance, he looked really fucking scary. And Christian Bale did an amazing job with that. But one thing I didn't like is that he's called the God Butcher. He kills one god in the beginning, and then he does kill more gods. You just don't see it. They're like, oh, he killed all these gods. It's like a montage of, like, post-death, like, butchering. And I'm like, come on, man. You know, fucking, this is bullshit. Billy Butcher fucking kills more gods than fucking this guy does. Because, you know, like superheroes. Anyway, technically that's true. If you think about it, Billy Butcher in The Boys kills more fucking superheroes, which you can kind of consider gods in a way, than fucking God Butcher. I mean, that's not true, obviously, but we see it. We see more death. You know what I'm trying to say. Anyway, by the way, Boys season finale later today. I might review that, actually, too, so can't wait for that. Oh my god, my mustache looks really weird. I'm trying to grow it out, but it's not really working. It looks really stupid. Look, it's like one patchy thing here, and like that's not bald, that's just blonde. So that's not working. Anyway, actually, it might be bald. Is it bald? No, I think it's bald. Yeah, I'm shaving this shit off. It ain't working. But, yeah, the tone is just all over the place. I really don't like what they did here. Like, Taika, I just don't really think it worked out this time. Because it really does feel abrupt at times when it goes back and forth. But saying that, again, all the gore scenes were really cool. Christian Bale nailed it. I wish he was in it more. And I wish it was really focused on him and Thor. I wish Thor and him had more conversations, because they both lost things. I wish they focused on that more than just having dumb jokes throughout the entire movie. Again, some of them were funny. Also, this movie has an obsession with Guns N' Roses. Holy shit. Like, I like Guns N' Roses a lot. And every song they had in this movie, all 45 of them, are great songs, but it's like they saw what people liked about Thor Ragnarok, where they had the immigrant song and it was really well done and really well placed. And they said, well, we need to do more of that, so fuck the immigrant song, let's do Guns N' Roses now. I'm like, all right. And then it's just like, two would have been good. One in the beginning, one at the end. Perfect. Because they did that with the immigrant song. It had in the beginning and at the end. I think, right? The first song was immigrant song, right? It's been a couple years since I watched. Yeah, here they had, I think, like 5 songs. I could be wrong, maybe 4. I think it was 5. And that's just Guns N' Roses. They even have a character in here that's like, hey, my name's Axel, like Guns N' Roses. I'm like, oh god. Hey, Taika, you like Guns N' Roses? I get it. That's cool with me. Maybe a little bit indulgent with it. But Guns N' Roses got a lot of money though from this movie. They must have. They were like, eh. But yeah, I really enjoyed Gore, Thor, and Jane stuff. A lot of side characters like Korg. I loved Korg in Ragnarok, but here I don't know. There's something about him like I didn't really love as much. Like he felt way more tag along than he was in Thor Ragnarok, which he was a tag along in that. But here it's just like he wasn't saying like a lot of really funny, clever things. Yeah, I don't really have much else to say. There's some funny stuff here and there. The post-credit scene's neat. It reminded me of the Guardians 2 one, if you remember how that ended. We still haven't seen the fruition of that one. We will soon, I think. But yeah, the visuals are nice. There's some good ones. There's some green screen that's very obvious, but there's some really cool visual effects in here. Some decent acting from everybody. Yeah, everybody gave a decent performance, or a good performance, I should say. Natalie Portman was actually really good. I actually liked her in it a lot. And yeah, there's some good action too. There's really not much to talk about in this movie, actually. Really thinking about it. Like, talk about Gore and Thor and Jane and Wayne and Blaine and fucking all these characters. But those last 2 songs. Bruce Wayne's in it. They did some multiverse shit in the DC universe crossed over. If they ever do that, you better get a good ass writer to make that make sense. Good lord, you better not get the fucking Loki dude to do that. I'll be really upset. But still enjoyable. Didn't love it, but I enjoyed it. On my scale, like I'm a little bit more lenient than some people. Like I would say this is a little above average. I know some people be like, no, and some people be like, what? No, it should be higher. Some people be lower. Some people be higher. That's obvious. Everybody's gonna either love or hate something that I don't. And I just like, I'm going to give it I'll just give it a 7 out of 10. I think there's some problems for sure. But I had a decent time. I definitely wasn't as bored and fucking hating my experience like I was with the last Jurassic World movie. That's for sure. That movie is fucking a big pile. Which Chris Pratt's just knocking out of the park recently, isn't he? Like, everybody hates him for some reason. I'm still not too sure why. Is it because he's playing all these characters like Mario and Garfield, or is it because of something with like a church? Like I looked into that, I'm like, I don't understand really. He never supported that church. I'm a little confused. I'm sure someone will let me know. But let me know who I'm supposed to hate, okay? That's why I don't really think about actors out of movies. Like I'm just like, we all, how can you say you love certain people out of movies? You don't know who they are. They might be fucking sacrificing children. You don't know. Which, by the way, there was a really weird joke about eating children in this movie that I actually laughed really hard at. So, you know what? I take it back. There was one funny joke. But it also kind of destroys the movie because now you're thinking like, what? Like, if you see the movie, you're like, whoa, they did that? Jesus, Asgardians are horrible. Anyway, there you go. 7 out of 10. That's my review. I guess we could do some spoilers, but there's really not much to spoil here. So spoilers real quick. Leave if you haven't seen the movie yet. Get out of here. Get out of here. Go. All right, just really quick spoiler discussion or talk. It's not a discussion. There's nobody else here. Natalie Portman's character, of course, Jane Foster, she dies. Bye-bye. She turns into fairy dust just like Odin did and went to Valhalla. So we get to see in a post-credit scene, she went to Valhalla and Heimdall's there. They managed to get Idris Elba back, even though I don't think he liked doing these movies. So he was just like, hey, do it. I thought Odin would be there, but Heimdall being there makes sense. That's nice. Natalie Portman dying makes sense considering she has, of course, stage 4 cancer. That's the one thing I didn't want to really spoil, I guess. But her dying made sense at the time, like a sacrifice play. And I thought it was good. The whole eternity thing, I like that visual. I know that's a big thing in the comics. That kind of ruins things if you really think about it, because there's so many times in this movie that, if you don't know, this whole movie's leading up to eternity. They want to go to a thing called eternity, which can grant a wish, because God Butcher wants to go there so he can just wish, hey, all gods die, so he doesn't need to start butchering anymore. He can just fucking, he can do Thanos at the end of Infinity War and just rest. But you know, even though I think he'll die, I think he knows that too, because of using the sword that kills gods. That's how he's the God Butcher. He has a sword. There's always a thing that corrupts somebody when they use it, just like with Scarlet Witch. But yeah, because I can't think of anything else to do, I guess. They want their villains to still be kind of decent people. They just get corrupt, I guess. I don't know. Whatever. Again, I was kind of with the God Butcher because, I mean, I guess he was killing some innocent people here and there, but when it comes to the gods, they all just seem like assholes. They didn't show us any other ones besides the asshole ones, and then the corpses of some other ones, so we don't know if they might have been assholes. I don't know. Maybe they're good people. Well, at one point, someone does say, like, this is the nicest god ever. I'm like, how? How am I going to take your word for it, huh? All these other gods are fucking supreme assholes, so this one might be the nicest one, but still a dick. But I guess Gore is a pretty... I'm Gore. I guess Thor is a pretty nice guy, so whatever. Anyway, so yeah, the whole wishing thing kind of ruins it. It actually ruins this movie. Not even just like, oh, they could have made a wish. Because it seems pretty easy to get to eternity. Like, pretty damn easy. It kind of ruins it because now, like, the whole Endgame thing, like, what was the point? Like, if Thor knew about this, which he knew about eternity, he talks about it because Zeus talks about it. Russell Crowe was pretty good in the movie, by the way. I don't he's not in it enough, but he was fun. Yeah, his voice he was doing was pretty funny too. But yeah, so he knows about it. So why didn't he just go? Oh, I could just go to eternity and use my wish to bring everybody back and have Thanos dead, or something like that, or like go back in time before Thanos was whatever. No, just bring everybody back. It would have been the same thing with Infinity Gauntlet. We didn't need to go that whole journey where Black Widow died and all these other fucking people died and shit. I mean, Loki, I guess, would have died by then because he didn't know about Thanos at the time. But still. Like Tony, all these characters that died. We didn't need to do that, but no. So it kind of ruins things. Really, like, go back and think about it. It's like, what the fuck? What was Thor thinking? He could just fucking use the Eternity wish. But maybe it makes more sense if you dig deep. Maybe he didn't know about it. It seemed like he did. He was like, well, we can't go to eternity. Blah blah blah. He can't get there, and the key is Stormbreaker because it can open the Bifrost. Can Mjolnir not open the Bifrost anymore? I guess no one could wield it, right? I thought Stormbreaker would be the same thing. Like, nobody could wield Stormbreaker unless they're worthy to, but I guess not. They never said that in Infinity War, to be fair, so whatever. So, yeah, what else is to talk about? Gore dies. He's like, oh, I'm a good guy still. The sword got destroyed and I'm not corrupt anymore. I just wanted my daughter back because his daughter dies in the beginning and no god helped him with that. God's, like, laughing at him and shit, so he's like, I'm evil now. I hate gods. I'm going to get the sword and kill all of them. Which makes sense in the movie. But, yeah, he gets his daughter back. He makes a wish to bring back his daughter. Jane dies. Thor takes care of Gore's daughter. And the movie ends with Korg saying, they're known as Love and Thunder because the daughter's also, like, she has powers, too. So they're going around being Love and Thunder, I guess. So that's why it's called Love and Thunder. And then the post-credit scene, the first one is Hercules. Hercules is there, played by the guy from Ted Lasso. I was like, all right, cool. And then the last one is Jane going to Valhalla. So not much to really talk about there. Hercules is cool. We'll see what they do with him, if they do anything at all. I mean, they probably will. I assume they will. But they have a lot of characters they bring into the future in MCU. So we still got Blade. Remember Blade? He's showing up. And they just confirmed that Charlie Cox and Vincent D'Onofrio are coming back for that Echo show. So anyway, there you go. That's that. That's my review, spoiler discussion of course, Thor: Love and Thunder. 7 out of 10. So there you go. That's it. Bye.